Hey, dude.
What?
Well, it's JRPG news.
Yeah!
Okay, welcome back, everybody, to our quasi-weekly news show here, where
Very
we talk
quasi.
about everything that has happened in Japanese role-playing game news since our last show, which was, as of this recording, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now, a lot has happened.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of general gaming news and a lot of JRPG news because as of recording, we're like right in smack dab in the middle of the Tokyo Game Show.
That's right.
So there is some stuff coming out that we will talk about because some things have already come out. Some stuff is scheduled to happen tomorrow, which is for me is the 27th. So we're in the mix of it now. We'll catch up on whatever probably next week or so on anything that we missed. So I'm gonna hand it right off the top of the bat to Zoltan. You got some quick stories for us to start with.
That's right. Turn-based channel, so it's my turn. Here's some quickies for you guys. There's a game coming out on February 16th, 2021. And February 19th for Europe, that is. February 16th for North America. Fallen Legion Revenants. That's developed by not Nipponichi, by, listen to this name, Yummy Yummy Tummy. That's the name of the developer. That's the only reason I put this story. I mean, it's published by Nipponichi Software America, so that is, a thing too. But Yummy Yummy Tummy? Who makes up these names? So that's a game that's coming out. Yeah, it looks kind of fun to me. I have no idea what the details are like, but it looks like you have to make combos to take out the other enemy. It kind of reminds me of Valkyrie Profile. It looks like you have 4 guys on one side and they're each assigned to a button and you push their button and they attack, is what it looks like anyway. Okay, RP Golf Legends has been announced. It's a golf RPG. It is it's the sequel to just RP Golf, which was only on PC, I think, but this one is coming out also, it just says for consoles, so I guess it's going to be on PS4 and Switch and maybe Xbox as well, but it's not coming out till 2021. So look forward to that if you like golf games, RPGs. I mean, there's only one in the whole world right now, but now there's going to be 2. Atelier Ryza 2, Lost Legends and the Secret Fairy is now also going to come out on PS5. They don't mention what upgrades or additional work they're going to do to it. Maybe none at all, because it's coming out the exact same day as the PS4 version now. And everybody who buys the PS4 version, digitally or physically, can just get the PS5 version for free. So that's nice, but maybe that means there's no upgrading the frame rate or resolution. I don't know. But of course, since it's on the PS5, you'll be able to look forward to the no load times thing, I imagine. So look forward to that. Boom. Disgaea 6 got announced, yo. I don't remember when Disgaea 5 came out, but it was a long time ago. I believe this is the longest break there's been between 2 Disgaea games. It's called Disgaea 6 Defiance of Destiny. And it not only defies destiny, it also defies traditions, yo. Because, I don't know if you know this, Mel, but all Disgaea games are 2D sprites on 3D backgrounds, a la Final Fantasy Tactics. Until this one, it's now 3D characters. Yeah. But these days, you can totally make 3D models look like 2D things. Maybe not. I mean, you have to go out of your way to make it look like a sprite, like with pixels. But I mean, if you've played Guilty Gear Xrd, that's 3D.
True.
3D, and it basically just looks like moving cartoons. And then occasionally, when you do a super move, then the camera moves. It's like, what? It was 3D all along, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Megaton Musashi. This is a game I reported a long time ago. It's not coming out until 2021. I'm sorry. It doesn't have any... Okay, it doesn't say when the release date for the game is. The anime that they're going to release with it later is coming out in summer of 2021. So that's a year from now. But yeah, Megaton Musashi, I think this is going to be the next game that takes all the Japanese kids by storm like Yokai Watch did. Because just like Yokai Watch, this is developed by Level 5. And just like Yokai Watch, they're making an anime of it as well. And this game, now there's a gameplay trailer finally. Last one didn't have any gameplay. And it looks like Armored Core, where you can pick all the parts and they all look different and they take them into the field and you combo guys up. It looks like faster Armored Core. Armored Core is kind of a slow game. Like you can shoot guns fast and you can move fast if you make a light mech. But like if you want to get close to somebody and hit them with your blade or whatever, that's really hard in that game. But this game, it looks like that's one of the main ways to fight other robots is to just run up to them and start punching and kicking them, doing combos and stuff. So it looks like my kind of thing, that's for sure. And being a level 5 game, I hope that it's stat heavy and grindy. That's what I hope. Congratulations to Dragon Quest IX. Dragon Quest IX it's all versions, even including the Switch one, okay? Including all versions now. Dragon Quest IX has now shipped and digitally sold over 6 million. Good job.
Hey.
Yeah, and I believe, I don't have it up here, but I'm just going off memory. Nier Automata also got like 4.8 million sales now, so that's almost 5 million. And of course, FF7 Remake also got 5 million. So yeah, lots of games are getting over 5 million. Good job. Brigandine, the Legend of Runertia, Runertia, could be anything.
Sure.
RUNERSIA. It's coming out for PS4 December 10th worldwide. I thought this game came out already. I had forgotten about it already. I mentioned when it first was announced way back in the day, the original Brigandine was a PS1 game. From what I've seen, people who've played it love it, but it's not a widely known game. It's considered a hidden gem. It's probably expensive as hell if you want to buy a physical copy now. So hopefully this one's going to be similarly well received. We'll find out. And of course, lastly in the quickie section, the most important quickie of them all, Kemco RPG Selection Volume 6 is coming out now, yo. Oh, yeah. Now, of course, these things haven't ever been announced for America or English-speaking audiences, but we have to just say it so we can say the names of the games included. Yeah.
I need to hear some of these.
So there's only 4 this time. I mean, I think there's always only 4. So the 4 games are As Divine Kamura. Who knows what that means? Yeah, they have a lot of As Divine games. Like, I guess the first one did well, and so they kept making As Divine games. How about this one? Alphadia Genesis.
All right, that's a little spicier. Okay.
This is probably my favorite one. Dragon Lapis.
All right, yeah, okay. A dragon and some kind of a stone material.
Yeah,
okay.
They chose a slightly less overused stone, lapis. They didn't choose diamond or ruby or emerald or anything like that. And last one is Liege Dragon. Liege Dragon.
Liege Dragon. Okay. Well, a lot of dragon going on.
Yeah, 2 dragons in this one thing, yeah. They all look like RPG Maker games with just nice anime portraits added onto it.
Exactly what I would imagine they would be, yes.
Yeah. And that does it for the quickies, Mel.
All right. Now, I think you were going to mention a certain game announcement, or did you want me to take off the next?
You wanted to do that one now? I thought you were going to do them in order.
No, I'll do some of my other ones now. So,
okay.
Since we're in the middle of TGS, there have been some trailers. One of them is for Monster Hunter Rise, which is a Nintendo Switch exclusive Monster Hunter game.
What? They're doing that again?
Yeah, Capcom really likes Nintendo in certain ways. They always kind of have favored that relationship, and they've been very willing to kind of throw Nintendo certain bones. And I think the portable nature of the platform has been kind of attractive because that's kind of the roots of the series. Well, actually, no. The roots of it are like PS2, but
I
it
think
became a handheld series predominantly once the DS was announced.
not the PSP version wasn't the first famous one?
And yes, the PSP version.
Yeah. I actually...
Maybe that was first. Yeah.
I don't know which one was first, but I actually lived out here in Japan during that time, and I taught high school. I teach elementary now. And back then, freaking so many high school students that I taught played the Monster Hunter PSP game. I think it's called Monster Hunter G.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So...
So yeah, I think the developers have kind of had a penchant developed for the handheld nature of those games, and when they scaled it up to Monster Hunter World, which is kind of a I don't know, Japan has this real habit of this occurring where they make one big grand push and they're like, this is our farewell to this series that's dying and not selling anymore. Let's make a giant, last push and then say goodbye. And then it sells like crazy.
Well. Yeah.
And then it just revitalizes the series and you get drowned in it. That's what happened with Monster Hunter World. It was selling poorly. And then the lack of a dedicated handheld console in the future was like, well, this is it. Let's make a big one and then say goodbye. This happened with Fire Emblem. This happened with Final Fantasy back in the day.
Yeah.
Here it is with Monster Hunter. And Monster Hunter World will directly influence this game, so there won't be those zones that you have to load in between to track monsters. And that is more than just they improved the game. Like, of course, the zones played a big gameplay element of the prior Monster Hunter games where you had to track your hunts between zones.
That sounds
and
cool.
The zones were all numbered.
Yeah.
So there was a tactical element to
finding them,
the load zones, like the limitation of the game. And that all went away in Monster Hunter World when the map that you were on, the world, like the zone that you were in was like a giant world map. And there were multiple zones, but they were all like one location. And that will be true of this game as well. It will have online multiplayer. So it's and there's gonna be a couple other things. You have like a dog companion too. That's gonna kind of follow you around.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I think there are probably going to be some key lessons learned with Monster Hunter World. There was some awkwardness with the multiplayer. I don't know how well that's going to be ironed out on a Nintendo console, but we'll see. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all about. I don't know if I'll pick it up, but I really did like Monster Hunter World. So if there's a Monster Hunter World 2 on PC, maybe I'll grab that one day.
You know what, actually, I can't really complain if a game is a Switch exclusive, because if it was a PS4 exclusive, I think there's more room to complain, because you can port that. I mean, there's some work, I'm sure, but you can port that to the Switch and then just add something to the screen you want to be, whatever, just a map or something. But the other way around is kind of different, because if you make something for the Switch first, then you want to tailor it to the Switch. Taking that to another console, you're missing a big piece of the hardware. So it's not as easy, in my opinion, I would assume. So
I agree.
If they tailor this to the Switch, it could be the greatest thing ever, right? And it's like, it should be the best of both worlds, right? The freaking Monster Hunter G generation on PSP combined with the Monster Hunter World home console experience. So hopefully it works out.
Yeah. So look forward to that. I don't think there is a date. Let's see. Should have found this earlier, but March 26, 2021.
Okay.
For the Switch.
2021.
Now,
got a while.
while we're talking about TGS, there's also a Final Fantasy Legend collection coming out that is a collection of the 3 Final Fantasy Legend games that I believe came out on like the
Game Boy?
Game Boy.
Yeah, I believe there are
There's a trailer that's out now, and that will be coming out. Let's see. Do we have a date here? I believe that's going to be another Switch release.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't have a date here. I don't know if they mentioned the date, but either way, what experience do you have with Final Fantasy Legend? Any?
I haven't played those Game Boy games. I don't usually. Even back then I didn't have a Game Boy, and now I don't play handheld games either. But I know that they are actually Saga games, and I have played a little bit of a couple of Saga games. I never finished one. They're actually really hard, and depending on the one you pick up, it could be just like this massive mind boggle of how the systems work. Like I remember one of them for PS1 is just like the most confusing magic system of all time. It's not like you can just sit there and grind and get more powerful. It's something else. So, but yeah, some people love them, some people hate them. They kind of have up and down opinions.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't had very much experience. I also did not have a Game Boy. I had a Game Boy Color, and I still have it. It's in a drawer somewhere, and I had like 2-3 games on it. I didn't really play much. So yeah, I just figured that would be interesting, and it's another one of those TGS things. Now, also coming out of TGS is some interesting news. Konami is actually making a video game. Whoa!
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's not just, a
pachinko
slot machines anymore with these guys. They still have developers on staff who make games, like console games, not just mobile games. This is a game called Eden's Zero, which is an adaptation of a manga and an anime, I believe. And it is an action RPG. There's a trailer. It looks pretty good. It looks very stylized. Looks like a moving anime. I don't know anything about the source material. I don't know if you. I learned today that this was not an original property that they made. Like it was taken from something. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I had not heard of it.
Gotcha. So yeah, it's an action RPG. It's also going to be a turn-based mobile game that they're going to adapt. They're parallel developing this and that. So. We'll see if this is going to be something to actually pay attention to, or if it's going to flop. I don't know what remains of their development staff.
Yeah,
what have they been doing the last few years? Couldn't just be this.
The last thing I heard about Konami was when they made that Metal Gear spin-off game after Konami left. That was like a zombie apocalypse Metal Gear game or something.
Yeah, Metal Gear
Survive or something.
Survive. Yeah, something it was like a resource gathering. It was a real shallow attempt at like a game with a lot of timers that you could potentially buy like microtransactions to extend or make the game easier. And there were people who tried to play that game like within its own confinement and be like, is there a good game in here somewhere? And they're like, not really. There were some interesting ideas, but it was all just surrounded by garbage mechanics.
Well, that kind of segues into what I want to go ahead and talk about next now.
Oh, go ahead.
So speaking of like free-to-play games, that game Genshin Impact, which I believe is a Chinese-developed game, It's not out yet, I don't believe. It's coming out soon. But some people, like YouTubers and stuff, have played it. And I watched a video by J-A-Y, RPG, talking about it. And he made 2 videos on it. And he first was like, dude, I can't stop. I haven't thought about anything but playing Genshin Impact for the last, 10 days. And I can't figure out why, because it's a free-to-play game. It should be shit, right? And then he, came back later and he, after, basically finishing the game, to come back and tell us exactly what is the free-to-play aspect and how does it work and just what is the actual business model behind this? Because it does have gacha machines, yo. You know what that is?
Yeah, those are the sort of like it's kind of like a slot machine sort of
Yeah.
concept, right?
Yeah, and you push it, and you're gonna get a random thing that you want that you can use in the game. Usually, it's characters, right? I think in this game, it's also
Sure. Yeah.
characters. And so, the way that a lot of free to play gotcha type games, their business model is that you play for a while, and then eventually you're like, okay, I want that character, or I'm not strong enough. I need a stronger character, whatever. So you use the gotcha machine mechanic a few times, and if you didn't get anything good enough or that you wanted with it, then the only way to try again is to pay real money. So that's how that works. Now, Genshin Impact is a free-to-play game with the gotcha thing to get characters, but according to JRPG in his video, it's not like you're gonna be underpowered or you have that character that you're dying to get now, because it's not like a previously established franchise or anything. It's just the model is check out this awesome RPG that we made and beat the game. And after you beat the game, now there's an end game. If you want to do some stuff in the end game, why don't you play the gotcha? So basically what he said is that there's this is of normal length, like 40 or something hour, just totally solid single player JRPG that's free to play. Well, Chinese developed JRPG that's free to play. I believe it's open world as well. And you can play the whole thing. And then if you like it so much that you want to play the end game, that's where you would spend money. That sounds kind of great to me. So I'm just happy to announce that a free to play game came out and it wasn't bad. Is that going to work?
Happen,
though?
folks.
Yeah, is that going to
happen?
Is it going to work though? I mean, like this is a whole new thing, right? Because now Chinese games are finally coming out in Western countries and stuff. And so yeah, this is like it took China to introduce us to a free to play. This new free-to-play model where you can play actually the whole game for free and then decide if you want to give money to them kind of at the end. Is it going to work? I wonder, right?
You mean for the developer?
For the
is it gonna make
developer.
some
That's
money?
what I mean, yeah.
I see. Well, I mean, I can definitely. I see what you're saying. It doesn't sound predatory enough.
Yeah, not enough, right?
What's in it for them, kind of a thing.
It's exactly what I want to say, yeah. I mean, if I played it and at the end I liked it enough, even if I didn't want to play the end game, if I liked it, I'd be like, well, I want to support these guys. Here's $20.
Sure.
I mean, that's not 60. It looks like a $60 game though, yo. So, but at least it's something that they got from me. But yeah, not everybody's gonna do that. Lots of people are like, yeah, I played that game for free and then I quit. So
yeah, exactly. I'm sure a lot of people will be in that camp.
category. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But anyway, if you guys are interested in Genshin Impact, you can play the whole thing for free. There you go.
Hey. Right.
Want me to do
what
another
else
one?
We got on the docket? Yeah, do one more.
Final Fantasy 16 came out. Oh! It didn't come out. It got announced at the.
Yeah. Hang on. Hold your voices.
It got announced at the PlayStation 5 reveal show. Good news for some, certainly for me, is that it's going back to the medieval fantasy setting. I like that. Bad news for some, maybe for me as well. Looks like another full-on action RPG. No turn-based at all, from what I can tell, anyway.
Yeah, this looks like it might be a continuation of Final Fantasy VII remake rather.
Yeah.
It looked almost exact in the short burst that we got of the gameplay. It looks like they adapted the combat in that game to some other.
Which is fine. It is a good system, but if you're the old school turn-based lover, I love Final Fantasy 4 and 6 kind of person. 4, 6, 7, or even 10, right? Like people.
Yeah.
Everybody has their favorite Final Fantasy, right? And the most popular ones are 4, 6, 7, and 10, I think. And
I guess
all of those, I think they're the most popular ones anyway. All of those are turn-based, yo.
True.
So, yeah, if you were jonesing for that kind of nostalgic system, doesn't look like it's going to be in here. But more than that, what I'm more concerned about personally, I don't like how dark this story looks.
I was going to say it's not a throwback mechanically, but it is a throwback aesthetically, like not in the dark sense. Like that is also true.
That's new. I
get
think.
that.
The darkness is kind of new in my opinion.
But it's a high fantasy setting,
High
which
fantasy,
they
yes.
haven't done
in a while. Yeah.
in a while.
Yeah, totally. 14 is online, so it's a little bit different. So it'd be
Yeah,
12 would be the last one.
And it is made by the same person as the guy heading the Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, so it's probably going to be good, right?
Yoshi P, or whatever his whatever his real full name is, but that's what everyone calls him. So people are like, this is probably going to have a lot of Final Fantasy 14 aesthetics to it. 14 is a really good looking MMO, but it is kind of a dated game. It came out during the PS3 era, so it's now quite old, and this looks, very cutting edge and new. So if you want an idea in your mind's eye of what you could probably expect from the look of the game, it's probably that game. That game also does have a darker aesthetic too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so bright. Like even when it is bright, it's more vivid than it is like bright.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It does include color, but it's like really dark, deep purples and greens, and it's not like cheery at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. So yeah, that game is we all kind of expected Final Fantasy 16 to be in the pipeline, but perhaps we probably didn't expect it to be so far in development. Something else that came out, dovetails nicely into our next story here, is that Jason Schreier, some from his sources that he seems to always have, has said that this game may be as far as 4 years into development.
What?
Right. Which could very well mean that we will see this game coming out maybe by the end of 2021.
That's not bad.
In contrary to Square Enix habit, they haven't shown us a trailer for a game that will come out in like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's good.
Possibly. Yeah.
So that means FF7 Remake Part 2 is going to be after that?
I don't think they're being made by the same. I would not be surprised to learn that they are completely separate resources. There might be some crossover here and there, but I would imagine those are siloed pretty significantly. Even though this does look like combat lifted from that game. Also, Final Fantasy 15 looked a lot like this too. So who knows where they took the ideas from and whatever, but the game is probably longer along than we might have suspected. That's interesting news, I think.
As long as it's good, that's all we care about, really.
We'll see. Final Fantasy VII has become the experimentation zone for Square Enix for quite a while now. I think this is always their space to test ideas out for the genre, which, it's cool that they are doing that.
Sorry, what has become the space? Say that again.
The Final Fantasy series.
The series, okay.
The brand in the mainline numbered Final Fantasy series has kind of become a space where they're like, what can we do that's new? Let's take a battle system that we haven't done before. Like, it's not common that I really don't expect that we're going to get a mainline numbered Final Fantasy that is like very similar to the previous one. 15 was not very similar to 13.
No, it wasn't. You're right. Yeah.
The main, not the MMO.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
it
wasn't
this
similar.
one looks like it may be the most similar, but in aesthetic and the story is always different, but we'll see. I do wonder, to your point from before, if we'll ever go back to a turn-based system. I doubt it very much. Because I just don't think the market... I don't think the people calling the shots think the market wants that.
Yeah,
the market may very well want it.
But they don't think the market wants it, yeah.
They don't think it does. I think time and again we have proven that there are sectors of the buying public who are just wildly underserved because, a thing is doing well, so they think that's what everyone wants. So you're getting like a shit ton of Gears of War and Call of Duty and nothing else. To cite an example from the early 2010s, but Dark Souls and whatnot kind of proved, hey, people want unstructured, difficult games. And then that blew up in a major way. And now everyone's making Dark Souls.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
So who knows? That may happen with turn-based games. I would love for that to be true.
Yeah. Somebody makes a
One
really
day.
good one, and then everybody wants to make turn-based games again. That'd be cool.
Yeah, right? Just someone sets like the mold and like, look, this sells like fucking crazy. And everyone's like, oh my god, I'm sick of turn-based games. They're everywhere. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be awesome for us.
I know. That'd be so cool. Oh, all right. So, do you have another story you want to grab onto, or are you...
Okay, I got
what do
two
you got?
more.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the game 13 Sentinels has come out. This is an important game. It's not an RPG, I don't believe. It says in the genres role playing and action RPG and adventure game. I don't really know what the genre should really be, but anyway, this is an important game not because it's an RPG. It's important because it's developed by Vanillaware. You know this company, Mel?
Yeah, they're the ones who make probably the prettiest like sprite-based games around.
Yeah, definitely amazingly beautiful 2D. Hand-painted, I believe.
I guess, yeah. I don't
I
know how
think
they
so.
do it, but they do a real good job.
Yeah,
whatever
either
they're
way.
doing.
Yeah. So they made Odin Sphere and, of course, Dragon's Crown, which is my favorite one.
And didn't they make something called Muramasa? Wasn't that?
They made Muramasa as well. I think that was their second game. But then what was their first game? Princess Code or something? Code of Princess
Sounds
maybe?
familiar. Code of Princess, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. So I think Muramasa was their second game, and that's the first one where people started noticing them, I believe. But then, yeah, Odin Sphere came out, pretty popular. Dragon's Crown came out, also fairly popular, and it got lots more press than usual because of all the gigantic booby characters. And then, yeah, now it's 13 Sentinels, and it's like a completely different, there's no, I don't know what the gameplay is like, but the setting is not a dude walking around with a sword anymore, right? All the past 3 games have had that in some way or another. This one, it looks like from the trailers that I watched back in the day, there's like a girl walking through her high school, right? It's like that kind of era.
Right.
But anyway, I just wanted to say, this game has extremely good ratings with a Metascore of 86 and a user score of 8.9. I'm glad to hear that because I always worry the next big game by the currently super popular developer, is it ever going to live up to the previous one? Like people, including me, people like The Last Guardian. I like The Last Guardian. Nobody likes it as much as they like Shadow of the Colossus, right?
True.
Yeah. Okay, we both talked at the same time. I got one more, Mel.
Okay, you got one more. Go
Yeah.
for it.
The Demon's Souls remake has been announced at the PlayStation 5 event, and the launch date is confirmed. It's going to be launch day with the PlayStation 5 in America, and it's going to come out a week later in Europe, unfortunately, so they'll have to wait a bit. But yes, the Demon's Souls remake is going to be a launch title for the PlayStation 5, and the thing to get out of the trailer, they showed a gameplay trailer of the whole tutorial area, and I think that the guy that for the trailer, the character they used is like a stronger than beginning one because he killed everything in one hit.
And he took 1,000 shield bashes from this one enemy who should not be able to do that to you.
Yeah. But I think the thing to get out of it, though, is one, of course, 3 things. One, the graphics are ridiculously beautiful now.
Yeah.
Despite being a dark-ass Demon's Souls game, man, I hope they do the same thing they did with Shadow of the Colossus, where they had the filter options and you could set one of them to vivid. I love playing with that option on. So if they do that with Demon's Souls, I'll be so stoked. But anyway, Or I would be if I had a PlayStation 5. Who knows if I'll get it?
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
who
know.
knows?
But anyway, there's that. It looks amazingly beautiful. For this trailer, at least, they zoomed in a lot closer to your guy. I don't know if that's I kind of hope that's just for the trailer. That's pretty close. I want them to
It
back
is
up.
very close. Even in that set, I know the area they're in, that's like the opening tutorial area, and there are like
Corridors.
it is like a close quarters area that the camera would be close, but not. It's like
The whole time.
the character's way up in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that's just for the trailer. But the most important thing is to notice that when you like touch whatever thing to warp to the next area, there is no loading time at all.
Hmm.
So that's something to look forward to with PlayStation 5 games, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, that is one of the promises of this coming hardware generation. Is they're all saying, oh, they all have onboard solid state drives.
Yeah. Who'd have thought a solid state
load
drive
real fast.
alone could just like clear all this up, loading times up completely like that?
Well, it is if the developer can account for it. So if they know that their assets can stream to and from whatever with a solid state, like if they know they can rule out no one's going to have a hard disk drive, no one's going to have a standard hard drive, they're all only going to have solid state.
That's when you can do it?
That's when you can really like turn into that corner, so to speak, and like design your game to account for that.
I see.
Because you could put a solid state drive in your PS4 and it would help, but
not like the PS5.
It wouldn't turn off load times.
Huh.
Okay. So it seems like load time improvement has been a goal of a lot of developers, and I guess it's been kind of a stated goal probably from Sony and other publishers because of the previous generation kind of having a lot of really bad examples of this, where especially like Bloodborne had like over a minute long load times. I timed it once on my phone.
And how often do you have to sit through that kind of a load time?
Whenever you die.
Oh my god, dude. That is prohibitive.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
It really, 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 and there were actually people who they had their TVs suffered burn-in because when the game launched, they fixed it after with a patch where the load times were reduced. I don't know what they did, but they did reduce it enough to where it wasn't that egregious. But before they did, whenever the game loaded for a minute, it would just say Bloodborne in bright white text on the screen for over a minute.
Oh, man.
And people's screens got burn-in of the word Bloodborne.
That's kind of funny. I want to look that up.
It is really funny. So, yeah, that has been like kind of a big push. I don't know if that's just like we're going to focus on this or if the solid-state drive is really the sole reason there. I'm sure it's a mix of both. But you're right to point out that this game looks fundamentally very different from Demon's Souls. It looks weightier. Your character's movements look more like plodding and heavy. I mean, they weren't running. At no point during the trailer did the guy sprint.
Yeah, he didn't, yeah.
There's also no UI on the screen at all.
That's probably just for the trailer, though.
I'm sure, but it means you don't know how much stamina the guy had, probably because he had like infinite stamina,
probably, yeah, 999 stamina or something.
Or some insane amount. And the riposte attack looked very different.
Did it look very different?
It looked different to me, like he did a whole like run through with the sword. There were also elements of the like, in other words, this wasn't just Bluepoint taking the game and then increasing the graphics.
It wasn't just that.
They remade the game.
Yeah, they changed some things, is what you're saying. Yeah.
They changed all sorts. They redid the models and the geometry on the levels. Like, he was running through areas in the game where I'm like, no, that's different. That's fundamentally different.
Mm-hmm.
So they remade this game, to some extent at least.
Yeah.
From the ground up. So I'm really curious to see.
I think the word to use there is redesigned, because the word remade is always confusing. But yeah, they actually changed the design of some parts.
It really is like in this unusual in-between zone of a remaster and a remake, which I don't see a lot of people talking about. Like, because a lot of people
I
are
would
still
just call
calling
this a remake.
remaster. I would too.
Yeah.
But Blue Point usually remasters games. They usually take original source code and they're like, we're going to port this over and make it look nicer with HD or some other effect. But
I see.
there's new model geometry and character models in this. Fundamentally reworked lighting system. Everything's different.
The lighting's
everything
totally
is different.
Yeah.
I would call this a remake. I don't know if everyone's calling it that, but that's what this is.
Well, would you call the Shadow of the Colossus remake a remake? I call it a remake.
No, that's a remaster. That's definitely not. There isn't like new. There's like more hair physics going on all of the Colossi, and the frame rate is obviously not like 15 frames a second or whatever the original was.
But they did make all new. They made them look the same, but they made them, right? They didn't just take the original and just touch it up, did they?
I thought they did. I could be wrong, though.
I mean, yeah, they don't look different. I mean, it's getting really hard to talk about. Let's talk about some other time.
Yeah, we're not deep enough into the development scene and haven't done the research to know. But either way, this looks like a remake to me, this Demon Souls game.
Stuff is going to be different, yeah.
It looks like it's going to be really cool. Now, there is a little thing at the end of that trailer.
What is that?
We all saw.
I think I forgot. I don't recall. I'm sorry.
At the end of the trailer, where they're like, come PS5 exclusive, it said also coming to PC with an asterisk.
Yeah.
Which then Sony, I'm sure, flipped their shit about this because that was not supposed to be in the trailer.
It was not?
It was not, no. They were reached for comment because no one addressed it. And they're like, hey, so when is this coming? And they're like, no, that was human error, was their quote.
So it
wasn't supposed to be in the trailer.
So it was supposed to be in the trailer. That doesn't actually mean that it's not going to happen, though. It probably is going to happen.
It probably is, but they're not commenting on it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how fucking exactly. That's how kind of a big oopsie-doops that was.
Oh man, I didn't know that was an oopsie.
Yeah, someone uploaded or pressed play on the wrong trailer.
Oh my god.
Yep.
That's amazing.
That is kind of nuts that they did that at Sony's event.
They made that trailer and then they showed it. It's like, okay, good, but take that out the end. And it's like they forgot to take it out, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So there was not supposed to be any word at all that this was going to come to other platforms, because Demon Souls was on PS3 exclusively, and everyone's like, Sony owns Demon Souls; it's never going to go anywhere else. Blah, blah, blah. I was saying that when everyone was talking about the rumors for these the remake of this game.
Yeah.
I was like, they would never make that mistake twice. And I guess whatever, I don't know, maybe From bought the rights from them or whatever. And
but it's PC, so do they?
Right. So
I guess Sony. Sony wouldn't want to. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Sony wouldn't. If they could prevent it, they would. And I'm guessing what happened at some point along the line is that From bought the licensing rights for Demon Souls from them, and it will come to PC. All but certain that wasn't a total those wouldn't be in the trailer if that wasn't true, on some level.
Okay, I have a question.
When is it coming? We don't know.
I have a question. If Sony wants us to believe that this is only coming out on PS5, even if they have the plan to release it on PC, but they didn't want to put that in the trailer, it was a mistake, and they wanted everybody to just believe it's only going to be on PS5 for now. Here's a question. Why do they not just lie and say, no, that was a mistake, it's not coming out on PC? What is the reason to not lie?
Because they're probably not allowed to, per their agreement. They're probably not allowed to acknowledge that or make that claim.
They're not allowed to do that? Okay.
There might be an agreement. Who knows? Or maybe they just don't want to, or whatever the case is. But they said that the trailer we saw had information in it that was the result of human error, was the word they used, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So we can all see, oh, that means
it was going to
there's
happen.
going to be
They
a
just made a
PC release.
mistake. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
someone
man.
got in trouble for that, I'm sure.
Yeah. I noticed that back when I was first watching it, but I didn't think anything of it. I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, that's good news. Interesting that this is being, disclosed at Sony's event, but all right.
Yeah. It wasn't supposed to be, apparently.
No.
Okay. I'm getting all excited to talk about the last thing on your list, dude. Let's do it.
Okay, so we kind of put the cart before the horse a little bit. Since our last news show, there were events and pricing and all these other information reveals on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S. So the PS5, like we were just talking about, had their whole reveal event. We saw the hardware, physical hardware. It looks ridiculous, and we saw the pricing for what they are splitting up into a digital only and disc included version of their hardware. So it's going to be $400 and $500 coming out in early November of this year.
Was it
for the
$4 and $5?
PS5? Was it not $4 and $5?
I thought it was. Was it $399 for the S? Okay, you keep talking.
$400 for the digital only version and $500 for the one that includes the disc. That's it. There's no performance difference between these two versions. So if you're really dead set on discs, and maybe you are someone who resells their games to save money, or they buy used discs. In my opinion, those are the only benefits of owning a disc-based system, because these games don't include all of the game on the disc anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Whenever you buy a disc-based game, and this is going to be super true for the PS5. And it was like mostly true on the PS4. But on the PS5, you pop that disc in, first thing it's going to want you to do is download an update.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's going to be a reality. So, but you do still have that benefit of, I got this copy of the game. I got this license, essentially, for this game. I'm going to sell it. You can still do that with your disc. Can't do that with your digital copy. So those are the differences. $100 for the disc drive. It's kind of a lot.
Yeah, it is.
$400 and $500. I think that was right in everyone's kind of guesstimation window.
Dude. I'm just on Wikipedia. It says US dollars $299 for Series S.
Yeah. Now, for the Xbox, the Series S and the Series X.
I'm sorry. Okay.
$300 and $500. Now, there's a bigger price difference there because the Series X and S do not have the same internal performance components.
Sorry, I'm a dumbass. What were you talking about before this one? What? The Series
The PS5.
X? Okay, I thought we were talking about Xbox the whole time. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
So I was like, what?
Since we were talking about the PS5...
We went into PS5 first, yeah.
With the Doom and Souls, I went into PS5 first. So, just to clarify...
PlayStation 5 digital only is $399. Let's just say $400.
$400 and $500.
And
$500
for
the one that includes the disc.
Okay. I'm sorry.
$400 for the digital only version. And the only difference between the two versions is that one includes the disc and one does not.
Yes.
There's no performance increase for the more expensive version.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about Xbox
Series X and Series S. It's $300 for the S and $500 for the X.
That's $300 for the digital only one, right?
Well, the S is digital only, but it's also
weaker,
lower spec. I don't have all the details in front of me right now, but it does perform at a lower spec than the X.
I believe what the marketed difference is that basically if you're fine with 1080p gaming, go ahead and get the $300 one, the S. And if you want 4K gaming, then you got to go for the X. Is what I believe.
Well, they're saying up to 8K, which is just marketing.
Yeah, it's impossible, right?
It's possible, but it's just not available. no one's buying an 8K television yet. People are really not adopting 4K television at that fast of a rate.
But
like,
even
a lot of people are, but not that much.
I don't see how they could possibly make a good 8K game, like let's just say 30 FPS. Can a console really play an 8K game at 30 FPS?
So I would imagine. So the PS4 was capable of 4K playback of video when it released. That may be what we're talking about here. It's capable of display resolutions up to 8K, but does that mean...
No, it doesn't mean it for games. Okay, yeah, that's what it means.
Does it mean necessarily for... Like, is that real? Like, I would say no. My opinion on that is you're not likely to run an Xbox Series X game at 8K.
Yeah, not a game,
at any kind of frame rate that is going to be worth your time. The game itself will also have to support the 8K resolution. And that might not... Like, games are made at different resolutions. Not every game comes at the same... Right. So that's another element. The hardware may on paper be capable, but I don't know that we'll actually see that in practice very often. So yeah, the real big headline here is that the prices and the dates, they're both early November, the 14th and the 12th or whatever, of this year. And they're both impossible to get.
Yeah. So the thing that PlayStation did, at first I was like, what the hell are you doing? But then I kind of understood. So there was a new graphics chip or graphics board that recently came out, like the RTX something 3000 something, and
for PCs.
Yeah, for PCs, right? This is an unrelated piece of hardware.
Graphics card, the NVIDIA RTX 3080.
Okay.
3080 and 3090. Those were same story. Those came out a weekish ago or two, and they flew right out the store shelves too.
Yeah, and I found out something new about how scalpers, the people who buy things just to resell them, how they work. I did not know this, but apparently they just make a programmed bot to just buy all the things the moment. Like when they say it's going to be released at this time on this website, then they just program that in, and their bot buys 1 million copies of it for them. They don't have to be there and like click or anything, apparently. And so,
I'm sure,
and so that happened with the 380 graphics card. It also happened a lot, I think, with the Xbox, because it came out exactly when they said it was going to come out, and everybody who was like there were lots of live streams of like, okay, it just turned 9 o'clock now. Right, I saw like 2 different live streams. It just turned 9 o'clock now. Okay, can I get an Xbox? Can I get an Xbox? And they did all this stuff, and maybe they got one or something, or maybe they didn't. And they had to wait for like 30 minutes for loading screens of websites and stuff.
Everyone's websites crashed.
Yeah, but then PS5, like they actually released them before the date that they gave, and so everybody's like, "What the hell is Sony doing?" And I'm being told, I hear now that was actually in the end more desirable than what Xbox did as releasing as expected, because less scalping occurred.
Possibly. I don't know if that was the intention or whatever the story was there, but that was, well, I really doubt it was the intention. I think what ended up happening was retailers didn't get a very clear line from Sony as to when exactly they're allowed to release purchasing for their, pre-orders.
I see.
And Jeff Keighley went on Twitter and said, a couple, either the day of or the day before or whatever, like, PS5 pre-orders are coming out, tomorrow, but some retailers may have it as early as this evening. And that apparently was enough
for everybody to release it.
Certain retailers, I think Walmart among them, to be like, oh, fuck it, go live. Like, people are already selling these things, fuck that, get out.
I see.
So the retailers may have just jumped the gun a bit, and then that may have, like you were saying, offset some of the programmed scalping that people had their bots set to go, like spam the button at whatever midnight, whatever 9 o'clock, for whatever. But yeah, regardless, it became incredibly difficult to get your hands on either of these pieces of hardware, which, if you are primarily a console player, these are the things that you're going to be using to play your future Japanese role-playing games on.
Yep.
And I think it's also worth noting that if you're going to be playing a game like, Final Fantasy 16, you're probably going to be spending $70.
That's right. Lots of games are going up in price.
Yeah, so this will be the first game standard MSRP, if you will, price increase since about 2006, roughly.
Okay.
So it's been some time. It's been about 15 years. I don't know. On the face of it, that sounds like, well, everything goes up in price, inflation, etc.
Yeah.
15 years is a long time for the price to never move.
It is.
But did it not really? Because games don't... You're never just paying... Well, the average
Some people
person
aren't,
is rarely ever paying just $60 for a game. You're adding on DLC. You're adding on any service fees if you're paying for something like Destiny or, in the form of expansions. You're adding on the $60 a year to play these games online.
Yeah.
Whatever other microtransactions, these all things come at a profit. So, to me, it's like, I thought they kind of figured out a way to
keep the price
make
down.
more money, because it's not like profits haven't grown since 2016, and suddenly they're like, well, guys, we all need to make more money. You've been making more money.
Yeah.
It's not like this, this industry hasn't grown since 2006.
Yeah, now
It certainly has.
It's the most consumed entertainment industry of all time now, right?
Right, and that is evident in the fact that Microsoft just bought ZeniMax for $7.5 billion.
Yeah. Was it ZeniMax the whole thing, or just Bethesda?
The entire thing.
Holy
They own
crap.
id Software now.
Oh wow.
They own Doom.
Yeah.
They own everything that Bethesda does now.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest, in nominal terms, game acquisition ever in history.
Yeah. $7 billion.
For
Jesus Christ.
$7.5 billion. So for me personally, it's not the biggest, like, earth-shattering piece of news. Like, if I don't know, Nintendo bought Sega, to me that would be more meaningful. But regardless, this is still one of the biggest business agreements to occur in the industry ever. Yeah, definitely. And it's also one of the biggest acquisitions in entertainment. The comparison everyone's been throwing around since this news came out is, well, actually, when Disney bought Marvel, it was only for like $4 billion.
Jesus Christ. Isn't Marvel bigger than Bethesda and ZeniMax? No?
I mean, I think that just speaks to the fact that the profits to be had in the game industry are that much more than in the movies.
Yeah.
Are those comparable purchases? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Were they overvalued? Did they overpay? Whatever. But I think they probably did pay the right amount given what they could probably get back out of whatever Bethesda and ZeniMax are doing with the next Elder Scrolls, with the next Fallout, and this other Starfield, I think it's called, game that they're making.
So all three of those, when they come out, will be for Microsoft now? They'll be Microsoft profits now? So
they haven't distinctly said, lockdown, never coming to Sony. They haven't actually come out and said.
No, I know.
Because there has been actual like wishy-washy talk in terms of they're going to remain their own publisher. Is what people have been saying.
Okay.
And they're going to be, the word is semi-autonomous that people have been throwing around.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
But my question is not, I don't know if they're going to, keep it the console exclusive or anything. What I'm asking is, so these upcoming games that were actually announced previous to the merger, to the acquisition, are they, when they come out, they're coming out on now Microsoft's watch. So now whatever profits that they can make, they will get from Elder Scrolls 6, for example. That's going to
That part
Microsoft
is
now?
probably right. That part is probably for certain.
Okay.
Whether or not this means that these development initiatives, which were started well before all this went down, will preclude it from occurring on Sony platforms, I actually think they will come out on the PS5. At the very least, what was the thing they were working on? The next Elder Scrolls. I really doubt that's going to get locked away only on Microsoft or Windows. It may, but I kind of doubt it. So yeah, there's some real interesting, and also this hasn't actually occurred officially yet. It's been announced, but the actual buyout or merger, whatever, is going to occur next year. Not that that makes a giant difference, but that's the technical part of it. Yeah, and from there on, it's anyone's guess. I mean, these things happen, and then they say they're going to do X, Y, Z, and then just something else happens.
Yeah.
Everyone said the same thing when Activision bought Blizzard. Oh, they're going to be their own thing.
Oh, totally.
We're not
going to
touch them. We're going to leave. They're going to be the same Blizzard you always knew, but now with more resources.
Nope.
And that didn't really happen.
Didn't happen at all. Yeah.
It took a little time, but it didn't end up. And everyone knew that wasn't going to be the way it worked out. And it didn't work out that way. Surprise, surprise.
Yep.
So we'll see how much this really has to do with exclusivity and development and resources and blah, 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 blah. Who knows? Interesting nonetheless. It all came out very strategically announced right before pre-orders opened up for the next Xbox. So you have all that. I think that kind of covers it for the hardware big next gen discussion. If you have anything more,
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, are you going to buy one, Mel?
No. In fact, I think I can say that more certainly this generation than I could any other hardware cycle, because for me, who currently owns a capable PC, a lot of this is coming to PC anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, if I didn't own that, then yeah, I'd probably be in the market for one whenever it would be reasonably easy to buy. And if I had to flip, it forced me to choose PS5 or Xbox Series X, I'd probably go with the Xbox at this point, which I didn't expect myself to think. But there's a lot going on in their favor now. Game Pass is apparently a ridiculous deal. I don't own a Game Pass subscription, but everyone says it's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's available on PC too. If you have a PC, you can sign up for the PC version of Game Pass, and that includes quite a lot on there as well.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it, but like my whole reason to not instantly jump to PlayStation 5 after buying 1 through 4 was the whole censorship stuff that always concerns me personally, at least. And I've never owned an Xbox console, so I'm really thinking about the Xbox when they're like, dude, backwards compatible with all previous Xbox systems, and you can get the digital only one for $300. I'm like, maybe I should buy an Xbox S. So,
right, exactly.
I'm
and
thinking
did we
about
mention the Final Fantasy 16 is a timed exclusive for PS5?
Okay, it's not only for PS5, yeah. Yeah, I didn't think it was exclusive.
Right. Yeah, they mentioned a 6-month window for console, so it should come to the next, the Series Xbox, X or S after about 6 months. And then a year after, I believe it's going to come to PC. I think that's the talk about that. So, I mean, exclusivity has been kind of going away. Even when people own these companies or these licenses, they tend not to remain exclusive anymore the way they used to. So it's hard to go wrong. Pick the platform that you need more reasons than just the games available. Nintendo always being the exception because they're Nintendo. But and also their hardware is just so different at this point.
I still don't have a Switch either, so I would love to have a Switch too, right? So
yeah, and if you got if you were looking, if you had money to spend and it was, Switch PS5 or Xbox X, like those are all different choices.
Yeah.
And it really does depend on what you're looking for more so than what games are on offer. But there also aren't a lot of games on offer for these next consoles, for the PS5 and Xbox. And not yet. Like, it's a very, 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 very thin lineup for them.
I don't know. It's better than past ones, I think, though. They've got some stuff.
Is it? I feel like it was worse. Like, there's Spider-Man on PS5, and what the hell's on Xbox Series X coming out?
There's not lots of RPGs coming out, but there's a variety of games, and if you put them all together, I think it looks pretty good for the person who just likes to play lots of random genres, lots of different genres. For someone like you and I who mostly want to play RPGs, the only thing that's going to be available at launch anyway is Demon's Souls. So,
sure, yeah. It's also worth pointing out the PS5 is going to be backwards compatible with the PS4 only.
Yeah, 4 only. So I don't need that.
Not 3 and prior. So
I want it with 3.
I would love it with all of them. The Series X and S is going to be backward compatible with most of the previous library. So they were made that more, but also, complicated, but the way they designed their consoles made that easier for them to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow. It's been a robust episode, but there was a lot of news. I warned you ahead of time.
You did.
That, I think, remains me to say thank you all for listening. We are always working on some projects in the background. Zoltan, you have your Final Fantasy VII review, long-form review coming out that you are getting on in there. Do we want to mention some of the other channel plans? Or do we want to save that for later?
No, we can just say coming soon. We haven't, don't worry, we'll tell you everything before it happens. But eventually we're going to go ahead and switch all of these. We're going to move all these news videos to a news-only channel so that we have separated the videos that take effort and the news report videos.
Yeah, so we're planning on running 2 channels parallel. We'll be updating both at the same time briefly, and then we'll transition the news away from this channel to the other one, and we'll give you all kinds of links to click on if you want to just boop, click it and go. So you can subscribe to that one if you want more regular news-oriented features, and then this channel will remain the longer form projects that we work on, which take longer to do, make more effort, more editing involved, etc. That's for later. And we also have our turn-based memories show still always kind of in the background there. Look forward to all that. So I think that leaves it. Anything else you want to touch on?
Nope, I had a great time.
All right. Thank you all for sticking with us. Have a good night, everyone. Good night, Sultan.
Good night, everyone.